Right, so to start phase 3, day 2, you are going to foam roll, and then after that we are going to get into our shin box transitions with rotation. So you will notice after Brett hits that transition, rotating through his heels, he is going to then rotate on top of that with his upper body. From there, your next move is going to be the extended inchworm. So if you start standing, reach down, touch your toes, you're going to go out. Notice how his hands are going in front of his head as he is going through his repetitions. You are going to hit 10 reps across all 4. For movement prep on day 2, you are going to start with lateral hip step overs. So a very simple way to think about this is you're just stepping over a hurdle or over a chair. If you notice, Brett's keeping his shoulders squared up with the direction that he was facing in the beginning. After that, you are going to go down to the ground and go through quadruped rocks. So quadruped just means on all 4s. Brett is going to start kicking out his right leg and then sit his butt back towards his heels. Move number 3, you are going to go into walking lateral lunges. Now, these can be done in place, or you can walk it out and hit all of them on the same side. Notice how his hips go back, his chest falls slightly, but his feet are pointed straight ahead. And then that final move, we are going to go into a load and lift, so you will need a wall here, and we are going to do the crossover variation. So you're going to notice at Brett's starting position, his hand is at shoulder width. He's going to reach out with that outside leg and then rapidly snap it across his body like he's driving his knee through a pane of glass. For our movement skills on day 2, Brett is going to start with that crossover march. So you're going to notice that he's bringing that knee up and over as to drive it through a pane of glass, keeping his posture nice and tall, letting the hips do the talking. So after your crossover marching, you're going to go into your crossover skipping. So you can just start the same way that you would start your lateral skip with your rhythm. And then as you get going, still driving that knee over violently like we're going through a pane of glass. In our movement skills, we are going to go through the 5-10-5 on day 2. Big thing with that start position is that we're thinking inside, outside edge weight distribution through the feet. Our chest is up, so that Exos logo on Brett's shirt, I should be able to see in that beginning position. So Brett, go ahead and walk us through here, and I'll do some talking, and then we'll hit one at 50%. So you're gonna really notice that he has that lean. And while we're in here, let's work on that exaggerated crossover. When he hits that 5-yard mark, he is going to plant on his left foot, crossover, plant on his right foot, crossover, and run back through that beginning position. So Brad, if you want to go through one at 50% here, that'd be great. All right, for our final move, we are going to start with the T-drill. Now, if you have 5 yard space between each cone, that would be great. Brett's gonna even try to push it back to get a little bit more at that beginning mark. So what I'm gonna have Brett do here is run through going to his left. We are going to run, and it's going to essentially turn into a 5-10-5 with that closed off rotation at the end. So Brett, when you're ready, go ahead, start, stay nice and close to the cone, dip. Now we're turning it into that 5-10-5, cutting on both feet, wrapping around and coming back through that starting position. Strength 1 today, we are going to be going through a dumbbell complex, which means we are going to be doing these moves back to back because they have a natural sequence and rhythm to them. So move number 1 of this complex is going to be an RDL. So Brett's feet are going to be narrow. He is pushing his hips back, feeling that stretch through his hips and hamstrings as those weights slide right down his legs. From there, Brett is going to go into bent over rows, so the same bottom position of that RDL, except now he is pinching his shoulder blades back, driving his elbows into his back pocket. Move number 3 is going to be a hang clean, so we're getting a little dip from that RDL before we violently pull up on those dumbbells, catching them at our shoulders with slight knee bend. And then finally, you're gonna have 2 options here for your lateral lunges. You can hold them up top like Brett is doing so right now, or you can split your leg holding those 2 dumbbells down low. For strength block number 2, we are going to be going through a circuit. So there will be 4 moves. Ideally, we could do all these moves in a row without taking that rest and then taking that break at the end. So move number 1 is going to be a kettlebell swing. We know there are a lot of variations of swings out there, so do which one you feel most confident with, but ultimately we are looking for that hinge position. Move number 2 is going to be a rotational row. So you're going to see as Brett drops and coordinates with that kettlebell, he is going to rotate his shoulders and get a little bit of spinal rotation in between those reps as well. Move 3, he is going to grab some sliders. You can grab a book, a plate, furniture movers, whatever's going to slide on the floor. He's going to start in that outstretched position, and then his hips are going to come up as he curls with his hamstrings, as his heels. And finally, for move 4, you are just going to flip over after those hamstring curls, and we are going to go through body saws. So feet are going to be on top of the slides. You can think of this just as a moving plank. Brett is going to push out and then drag through using his upper back, some of those muscles around his rib cage, and then pulling through the elbows.
All right, for your energy system today, you're going to be doing 400-meter repeated runs. So I want you to think about your rest is going to be 1.5 times however long that run takes. So if it takes a minute, your rest is going to be 1.5 minutes. If it takes 2 minutes to get that run down, your rest is going to be 3 minutes. This is all up to your intensity level, but what you want to get out of it. Obviously, the higher intensity you have, the harder you run, the more you're going to be getting out of this. So it can really be as easy or as hard as you want.